Mets winning over Atlanta. The Mets now a half game back of the St. Louis Cardinals as you look at Claudel Washington in the on-deck circle. Montreal in third place. They're a game and a half out. Chicago 5.5 away in fourth. Philadelphia 13.5, and Pittsburgh 23 games out. In that Western Division of the National League, the Dodgers leading San Diego by a half game, Cincinnati by 6, Houston by 9.5, Atlanta by 11.5, and San Francisco by 18.5. So it's bunching up once again in the National League East. Claudel Washington the leadoff. Claudel hitting .281. He's had 9 home runs, 2 of them against the Mets. He has driven in 26. And the sinker ball pitcher, Terry Leach, picks up a strike. Terry as a starter, his 3rd major league start. And it's his first start since October 1st, 1982. And in that ball game, Tim, he was nigh on to perfect. He pitched a 1-hit, 1-0 victory over John Denny and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Only hit coming on a 5th inning triple by Luis Aguayo.
Fastball, grounded foul. Terry is the only Met pitcher to pitch a 1-hit, 10-inning ball game.
A very interesting thing about Terry pitching against the Atlanta Braves. He was released twice from the Brave organization. And his manager, in one of those times, as we look at Dwight Gooden and Mookie Wilson, the manager of Terry Leach was Eddie Haas, the manager now with the Atlanta Braves.
Little revenge coming up right here. At least that's what Terry would like. This one grounded at the second baseman, Wally Backman. He handles a difficult hop. And Backman picks up the first out of the ball game. You got to look at Dwight Gooden on the bench. Dwight got a big break in yesterday's ball game as the Mets got way out in front. Davey Johnson was able to take him out of the ball game after 6 innings of work. The Mets are concerned about the number of innings he has pitched this year. Very concerned, because only one other pitcher at his age has pitched as many innings, and that was Bob Feller. And Feller, of course, missed about 4 years in the service after that. And a swing and a miss as Glenn Hubbard misses the slider. Hubbard hitting .240 with 4 home runs, 29 runs batted in.
I guess you could add an asterisk to that thought also, and that is that not a lot of pitchers who are 20 years old have the competency to pitch that many innings.
And Hubbard, who's had a big series, hits this one down the line, making a turn, going for 2, no play as Foster tosses it back in toward third. So Glenn Hubbard with his 6th hit in this series. He's been up 13 times. And Hubbard back in the lineup again.
So Seed down the third baseline. Hubbard reaching out and whacking it by Howard Johnson. An easy double.
So the first base run of the ball game, Hubbard at second base, and Dale Murphy the batter. Dale hitting .286, the leader in the National League in home runs with 23 and runs batted in with 70. And he goes after a slider that's on or off the outside corner. Very close pitch. Murphy's had a tough series. He's 2 for 11 in the series, and he's hit only .170 against the Mets this year in spite of that .286 average for the season. Dale Murphy 3 times has hit 36 home runs in a season, 3 consecutive years. Boy, that's being consistent.
Nice number to get stuck on.
Runner goes, and no contest. Hubbard stealing third base on the pitcher, Terry Leach.
And a good time to try to steal third. Of course, Terry Leach winding up. Realize it's his first major league start since 1982, but the rules have not changed that you can wind up with a man on base since that time.
Well, you can wind up with that type of a result.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you can do it.
That's
yeah.
right. So a runner at third now with Murphy at the plate with a count of 1-1. The Mets are playing their infield back with the exception of the third baseman. And Murphy this time doesn't chase that low outside slider, and it's called a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Murphy off to a great start in the month of April, and then slowing down some, which is very normal. You just can't keep up those fantastic spurts in a regular season. Grounded to shortstop, a run will score. Santana picks up the out at first base, and the Braves lead 1-0 as Hubbard crosses home.
Now, see, that's going to be scored as an earned run, but in my opinion, that's an unearned run because of a mental error by Terry Leach. And I think unearned runs should be included when mental errors. Of course, that's not in the rule book. Santana goes to first base, but because Terry Leach wound up with Hubbard on second, allowing him to steal third base, Dale Murphy drives him in, but technically he should still be at second base.
And very conceivably, Murphy could get the game-winning RBI. There's a ground ball to third. Howard Johnson has it. The throw to first base retires Horner, who was hitting .273 with 16 home runs and 49 RBIs. So 1 run in the inning on 1 hit. No errors and no one left on base. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Braves won. The Mets coming up. Now here's a word from Nissan. Lifetime record at 36-35. Lifetime against the Mets, he is 0-3 and pitching to the leadoff batter, Len Dykstra. Len hitting .263 with 1 home run, 14 RBIs. Len has been on base in 13 of the 14 games he has started for the Mets this year. 3 for 9 in this series and hitting .310 against Atlanta pitching. Braves shade him as though he were a right-hand batter, and the infield has shortened up, and he has an idea about bunting. Takes a breaking ball for strike 1.
For the first pitch, Perez was stretching that right shoulder out. He has been on the DL. There, he's doing it again. He's been on the DL twice with shoulder problems this year.
This ball grounded foul, so the count at strike 2. He says he doesn't have any problems. It is not sore, but when you see those actions, you wonder about that. Pascal Perez, a man who got his driver's license in Atlanta, started out for the ballpark, normally about a 20-minute trip from where he was living. It took him 3.5 hours to get there. He got on the big circle route around the city and couldn't get off. The merry-go-round got him.
Instead of the big circle, he felt like he was at the Big Sur, huh?
2 strikes to count, and it's fouled away. He finally ran out of gas, or just about ran out of gas, stopped at a gas station, didn't have any money with him, and talked the gasoline attendant into the fact that he could get some gas. He also got the directions to the ballpark and finally got there, and he missed his start against the Mets. Here's his pitching motion. And it's in the dirt. The count at 1-2.
One of the things you have to do as a hitter is to wait and have quick hands. 2 of the things, I should say. And with Perez, you really have to do that because he comes at you with a lot of arms and legs. Got to pick the ball up, and to do that, you've got to wait.
Boy, just missed with a fastball. Perez throwing much better than he did in a start against the Mets in Atlanta. That ball game, it looked like he was at about half speed.
Worked an inning and a third down in Atlanta. Gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs. Struck out nobody and walked nobody. Lost that game 6-1.
Ground ball, and it's foul.
Funny, Ralph, how you have the outfield swung around all the way to the left field line, as you said, playing him like a right-handed pull hitter. And Chris Chambliss gets a ball on the line. A ball hit fairly well.
There's Eddie Haas, the manager of the Atlanta Braves. He was at Richmond last year. Was brought up at the end of the season sort of to sit around when Joe Torre was the manager. Sit around and observe. Looking over Torre's shoulder all the time.
Johnny Sain also the pitching coach. And Joe Torre has told me that when they came up, that's the time that he knew that if the Braves didn't finish with a strong flourish, that he was gone. And of course, Joe was right.
So whatever, the handwriting on the wall when they start bringing up people to observe.
We don't have any observers in this booth today, do we?
Ground ball to the shortstop, Zavella, and he throws over to first for the out. So Dykstra the first out for the Mets.
Here's the second baseman, number 6, Wally.
No, it's just you, Steve, and Alexander Salmon. Great Andy up here today, so I guess we're safe, huh?
At least for the day.
Bill Webb's got all sorts of people down in the control room today.
Now Wally Backman, who has been on a hot streak. Wally has hit in 11 consecutive ball games, the longest streak by a Met this year and the longest in his career. Backman hitting .273 now. 4 for 10 in this series, hitting .326 against the Atlanta Brave pitchers. And Perez misses with a fastball.
The magic is back, man. All right. What a great poster.
Right with it. Full house here today. Oh, this is a typical baseball day here at Shea. And the breaking ball, and they counted 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's what Perez will do. He'll slop that slider on the outside part when he needs a strike. But then, as you see, the packed house here at Shea today, but when he goes to that good slider, it's tight.
There's a fastball, and they count 2 balls and 1 strike. Braves leading 1-0, 1 man out, bottom half of the first inning. And it's out to center field. Dale Murphy is there. 2 men away. So Perez, who was 14-8 last year, picking up his first 2 batters here in the final meeting between the Mets and Braves this year. The Mets have won 9 of the 11 games played. And for the Mets, it'll be Keith Hernandez stepping up. Keith hitting .280, 7 home runs, 46 runs batted in. In his last 18 ball games, Keith has raised his average from .252 to .280. Straight away, the defense, and the first pitch a called strike. Keith 3 for 9 in this series and batting .333 against the Braves all season long. 13 base hits, 2 of them home runs. Have a light breeze blowing in from right field. And the breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Perez breaking a 7-game losing streak this year with a victory his last time out. Sort of used to those losing streaks. He had a 11-game losing streak split with 2 ball clubs. Pittsburgh, he lost 7, and with Atlanta, when he came over to Atlanta, he lost 4 to make it a total of 11 straight losses.
Came from the Pittsburgh Pirates for Larry McWilliams. Also infielder Carlos Rios came over back on June 29th, 1982.
2-1 pitch fouled back, a fastball fouled away. He's been a big winner for Atlanta. 1983 won 15. Last year he won 14. He's one of the big disappointments for the Braves this season. This one hit slowly to the second baseman Glenn Hubbard. And the Mets go in order here in the first inning. The score at the end of 1. The Braves 1, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
For the Atlanta Braves.
So on a hot summer day, a full house, the Mets trailing 1-0 as we go to the top of the second inning. The leadoff batter will be Terry Harper. Harper hitting .261 for the year with 8 home runs, 43 runs batted in. And this one grounded in the hole, a base hit to left field. So Harper continues to hit the Mets well. He was hitting .350 against the Mets this year before that base hit. That's his 5th in this series.
Well, a fat slider drilled right past Howard Johnson. Howard, after a shaky first game after the break, has played 2 superb defensive games, but couldn't come up with that one.
So a runner on with no one out, and the batter will be Chris Chambliss. Chambliss hitting .231 for the year. 1 home run, and that ball bounced up. Did it hit him? Yes, it did. The throw down to second base, and we'll see how it's called. Batter out at interference or what?
I think it's a fair ball. I think he called it fair all the way around.
I think it came up and hit his bat, though, after it went down the ground.
Well, Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire, pointed to fair territory. If it hit his bat, then Chambliss is out, because can't throw your bat in fair territory.
Sure it did. It hit his bat.
Stepping up to the plate, number 5.
Ball bounced up and hit the bat.
Jerry Davis called it fair all the way. Now, if it bounced up and hit his bat, and he was in fair territory, of course he's out. Check it one more time. I don't know. You thought it did, huh?
I thought it did.
Thought it just missed it.
Either way, they get an out.
Yeah,
and
right.
the runner's still at first, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
That's right. Only you have better speed at first base.
Right.
That'd be the only difference.
So Chambliss is on at first on the force play at second, and the batter up there is Rick Cerrone. Cerrone hitting .229 for the year with 2 home runs, 13 RBIs. Cerrone was a victim of a fantastic double play started by Howard Johnson in this series. Johnson making a diving catch to the foul side and then getting up and turning it into a double play.
A little strange, Chambliss trying to bunt there anyway.
Yeah, you want him up for the power.
I mean, he's their power hitter, even though he has 1 home run this year. But I think a big point is that Terry Leach is the type of pitcher that Chris Chambliss can really shellac, because you got to pitch him inside to be successful.
And this ball lofted in the left field. Here comes Foster. He dives. Did he catch it? They called him out. So Foster, after a slow start, comes in and makes a spectacular catch.
I'll tell you what, Ralph, I'd have been fooled by that ball if I were playing left field too, because the ball looked like it was really, and sounded like it was really smoked. George went back, and now when he comes in, he has to dive for it and makes a great catch. Good play, George Foster.
So good, we'll look at it again.
Hit it down on the end of the bat, but it really looked like he hit the ball square, but he didn't. George, that first step was back, and then he recovers nicely and makes a fine play.
Another thing, it sounded like it was hit hard, and you go by the sound when you're an outfielder too, although you might doubt that with 50-some thousand people here, but you judge by sound.
Sure.
And that ball sounded like it was hit in the good part of the bat. First pitch to Paul Zuvella out of the strike zone, ball 1. Zuvella hitting .202 with no home runs and 1 RBI, and this one is going to drop in. Santana takes it away. Rafael Santana to turn Zuvella out. So another fine play by the Mets.
Oh, we've said it so many times. Santana smooth as a milkshake. Check this out. He makes it look easy, and that is not an easy play.
So in the inning, a leadoff base hit. 1 man left on base, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings. The Braves 1 and the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Sunoco. Well, for the Mets as they bat here in the bottom of the second. Coming in for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph. Gary Carter leads it off. Gary batting .266. But more importantly, he's in the lineup. Fastball. Gary just getting out of the way, and that pitch not greeted very warmly here at Shea.
Carter hitting .351 this season against Atlanta pitching with 13 hits, 1 of them a home run.
Wants the fastball away. Well hit left field. Terry Harper is there, however. So Gary Carter flirting with danger. 4 in a row retired by Perez, and the batter Darryl Strawberry.
Well, he puts a good swing on it, but he hits it out in the end of the bat. So the ball doesn't have any carry to it, as he did not get the good part of the bat in the ball, and Harper able to get over and make the play.
And the hitting star of yesterday's game, Darryl Strawberry. 2 home runs, a grand slammer, and a 3-run job, and then a triple. 7 RBIs for Strawberry. Changeup is a beauty. 0-1 to Darryl Strawberry. Darryl now batting .242 with 10 home runs. Fastball misses. Cerrone wanted it.
Well, Strawberry in his last 15 games has done some damage. 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in, 14 runs scored, 17 walks, and 17 hits.
Right on the corner, 1-2 to Darryl Strawberry. Wants it up, a heater up. All right. Jams him with a fastball. Shortstop Paul Zuvella just gets him. 5 in a row retired by Perez, and he appears to have good mustard on that fastball today.
In the National League, the schedule has the Astros playing the Expos. No score, bottom of the second. Phillies and Reds in a rain delay. Pittsburgh and Padres later. Cubs and Giants later. Cardinals and Dodgers later.
And George Foster, the batter. George batting .248. George has batted .338 over 18 games. And 6 home runs, 22 RBIs over his last 22. 1-0 Atlanta. 0-1. Good slider there. Did he go too far? No, says Harry Wendelstedt.
Harry giving that sign like he was a school teacher, and he has an umpiring school down in Florida that he runs every winter, and a fine one. You were
Tight
an umpire.
fastball, 2-1, huh?
You were an umpire, weren't you?
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
As a catcher, you umpired every pitch.
I complained about every pitch because I thought the catcher had the best view in the house. It's almost impossible for a catcher not to know whether a ball is a strike or not.
Well, first of all, you got one big advantage. You know the pitch is coming.
Sure. And plus, you're in a better position than an umpire, too. You see it. You're the one who has to catch it. That's the reason.
You don't close your eyes and look in the glove and see where the glove is. Huh?
No, only on foul tips. Fastball is low, so Foster walks. First base runner for the Mets. And the batter, Howard Johnson.
Number 20, third base.
I always thought I had a better view than the catcher when I was hitting.
Well, it's so important to choose strikes at which to hit. Got to know the strike zone, and knowing it's not good enough. You got to be disciplined enough not to swing at a bad ball. And the great story about Duke Snider going to spring training for 2 weeks. Branch Rickey wouldn't let him pick up a bat. He wanted him to stand in the batter's box and umpire for 2 weeks before spring training started back in '48, I believe. Slider outside, 1-0.
I used to go out and stand up where the pitcher was warming up for the ball game and stand right there and call umpire it, so to speak, to make sure I got the strike zone in perspective.
Never a game went by when Curt Flood was not down there before a game. Pitcher was warming up, and just to get an idea of the strike zone. Well hit, right field. Washington back. This ball is out of here. Home run, Howard Johnson. Mets lead 2-1.
Johnson picking up his 5th home run, and don't be surprised if the 6th home run. Don't be surprised if the Braves try to trade for him. He has worn the Braves out this year.
That is his 4th home run against Braves pitching this year, and he only has 6. Fastball inside to Santana. Well, what a great shot by Bill Webb of the animated dugout and the passive Pascal Perez.
8th home run given up by Perez this year, and he hasn't worked many innings. That's only his 53rd inning. Here's the pitch, a fastball right down in the zone that Howard Johnson likes, and Claudel just looking at it.
And a slider's a strike to Santana, 1-2. Rafi batting .246. He has 1 home run, 19 RBIs. 2-1, New York. Slider fouled away. 2 outs, nobody on. Perez had retired 5 in a row, and he walked Foster. And then on that 1-0 fastball, the 1-0 count, the fastball was ripped to right, home run Howard Johnson. Slop drop is low, 2-0. 2-2.
That was the 70th home run hit by the Mets this year.
Chicago Cubs lead the National League in home runs with 76. And the Mets had just tied Atlanta in home runs with their 70th. And that's tied for second. The Dodgers have 69 and San Diego 67. 2-2. Line drive, nice play, Chambliss. But the Mets are on the board in a big way. 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors and none left. And after 2, it's 2-1, New York. Now here's a word from a off Terry Leach. Pitching for the Mets, he has a 2-1 lead, and the Mets have utilized those home runs to the best advantage over the last 2 days. They had 5 in yesterday's game, tying a Met record. And Howard Johnson with a 2-run homer in the 2nd inning. 2-1 New York. And a bunt and a beauty. Perez can fly, but Leach gets him. Don't usually think of pitchers running well because few run balls out anyway for obvious reasons. But Perez can run.
There was a pitcher by the name of Vance that held the record for running around the bases. I think his first name was Joe Vance, and he held the record for running from home to first to second to third and back to home.
For pitchers?
No, for anybody.
Is that right?
And you don't see that done anymore. They don't have any of those
clock you around the bases.
Like
Used to do it all the time down in spring training. Once the legs were in shape, clock you to first, clock you to second, third, and then around the bases. If they did that now, it'd take me a month to get all those clockings down.
Use one of those sand glass things.
Yeah, big ones, big sand glass, hourglasses. Yeah. Fastball outside, so it's 1-1 to Claudel Washington. There you see the record of the Braves. They were 500 in June, and that's the best month they've had. 9 games under 500. Base hit up the middle. So Washington greets Leach here in the 3rd inning with a base hit. 3rd base hit for the Braves. And the batter's going to be Glenn Hubbard, who stole a base when Leach wound up back in the 1st inning, and then he scored on an infield out. A costly mistake for Terry Leach. Charles Hudson of the Phillies, another guy who runs very well for a pitcher.
You had to ruin it, huh? Put that last prepositional phrase in
They've
there.
always said that about catchers, though. I mean, you know, runs well for a catcher. Somebody says he runs well for a big 3rd baseman. They will say he runs well for a big man, however. Fastball is tight. 1-0 to Hubbard.
So scouting reports.
Bob Gibson had 9 stolen bases in 1967. None with the jacket on, I might add. Good fastball there, so it's 1-1. Terry Leach, very, very unusual. Reminds you of Tom Seaver, not the way he throws, but you always saw that Tom Seaver's right shin was always dirty. Terry will drag that right shin when he pitches. How low can you go, huh?
Speaking of Tom Seaver, he won his 298th game the other day and pitched his 61st shutout. That looks like Tom's pants.
Tom wore that knee pad, and I guess still does. Fastball is inside, 2-1. Washington certainly a base running threat at first. And Hubbard a good hit and run man. So look for something to be on in this ideal count, 2-1. And that's the score, 2-1 New York.
Braves have not had many stolen bases. They've only had 38 out of 61 attempts coming into this ball game. Of course, they got one in the first inning, so they now have 39.
Not running. Fastball is fouled away.
That's not very aggressive baseball. That's just almost an automatic run and hit or hit and run play there.
Especially with all the elements. You got a fastball sinker ball pitcher out there, a contact hitter, and speed at first. What is wrong with the elements in that situation?
You got everything going for
everything.
you.
Everything.
Well, Keith has moved into fair territory at first base. He was instructed that he could not have that foot in foul territory. As the rules state, you have to have 8 men in fair territory.
Grounded to short, could be 2, 6, 4, 3, double play. No runs, a hit, no errors, and nobody left. And at the end of 2.5, it's 2-1 New York. We'll be going into the bottom of the third after this word from Ivory. We go to the bottom of the third. Terry Leach leads it off for the Mets. The Mets with only 1 hit, but it was a big one. A 2-run homer by Howard Johnson. Mets up 2-1. Terry, as you see, 0 for 2 on the year. Helps his own cause with a rope to left.
Well, Terry getting his first major league hit this year. He's now batting .333, 1 for 3 as he leads off with a little help for his own cause.
Speaking of help, if I were going to answer this question, I would need some help, Ralph. For it's time to play Mets trivia. If you know that Jay Hook was the Met pitcher who recorded the first regular season victory in Met history as Dykstra steps up and takes the fastball outside. All right, Jay Hook was the pitcher who recorded the first regular season victory. Do you know the Met who recorded the first victory of any kind? That's right, we're talking about exhibition season and everything. As Dykstra fouls it away, it's 1-1.
I know the Met who hit the first home run of any kind, Choo-Choo Coleman.
All right, probably a low fastball.
Low fastball.
He could catch a low fastball and hit it.
Casey Stengel said he was the fastest catcher he ever saw going after pass balls.
Ran well for a catcher.
Ran very well for a catcher.
Dykstra may be bunting here. And he is, and he takes it with him. Chambliss goes to second. Good play, Chris Chambliss. And for that reason, that's why that's a bad play on the part of Len Dykstra.
Well, you got the pitcher on base. Dykstra was bunting for a base hit here. He didn't get the ball out far enough, and Chambliss had only one play, and that was to go to second, and he made a good throw to Savella. So Chris Chambliss, always a fine fielding first baseman, makes a very good play, and they pick up an out instead of having runners at first and second.
So the batter, Wally Backman, and we'll ask that question one more time. Jay Hook won the first regular season game. Who won the first game of any kind for the Mets in the spring of 1962? With 1 out, Dykstra at first, and obviously a threat. First Met pitcher to record a victory of any kind. And obviously in the exhibition season, 62. You remember, Ralph?
I'm going to guess Ray Davio. That's a wild guess.
That's a good guess. And it was wild, but it was better good than it was wild. For Bob Butterball Botts won the first game. He did not botch it.
I knew him well.
Our dear and good friend Bob Butterball Botts. Right on the tip of every Mets fan's tongue. Line to right, base hit. Dykstra may score. He's going to score. Backman's going to go to third. 3-1 New York.
Well, Wally Backman with this 3-base hit extends his hitting streak to 12 consecutive games. He's halfway to the Mets all-time record held by Hubie Brooks, who hit in 24 consecutive games. And Dykstra continues. And he comes in to score as Backman goes in with a triple.
And the batter, Keith Hernandez. Infield in, outfield straightaway and deep.
Backman's third triple of the season.
Slider and a beauty. 0-1 to Hernandez, who grounded to second his first time up. Boy, Backman pulling a ball down the line like that, you can run all day. Only one away. Line past Chambliss. Hernandez may try for two, and there he goes. Safe at second base. 4-1 New York. We'll see how they're going to score it. It's probably going to be a double RBI for Hernandez, but we'll see.
Well, Keith rips it, and no real chance at all for Chambliss. He got a piece of his glove on it to slow it down. Backman scores on the play, and now Hernandez sliding in and is safe as the ball was not handled by Savella. Now here's another angle of it.
Oh, a good swing.
Beautiful swing. So Hernandez, thinking that ball might have been caught, speeds up again and now goes on his way to second base. He would have been safe anyway.
Good base running by Hernandez. It was scored a hit. And the 19th double of the year for Keith. And the Mets lead it 4-1. 2 in the second, 2 in the third. RBI number 47 for Hernandez. Good fastball. 1-1 to Gary Carter. He flied deep to left his first time up. And the Braves have action in their bullpen. Rick Camp is up and throwing. Everyone remembers Camp in that 19 inning game. His dramatic home run in the 18th inning. Gary fights off a fastball. 1-2 to Carter. Mets enter the game a half a game behind the Cardinals. The Cardinals play later on this afternoon. Jerry Royce pitching for the Dodgers.
And Kepshire will be going for the St. Louis Cardinals.
All righty, Kurt Kepshire. Breaking ball inside was fouled off. Bob Horner makes the play. Tosses back to Perez, and we'll do it again. Still only one out. Hernandez at second. 4-1 New York. Houston over Montreal 1-0. Boy, those Expos, they have given up 1 run in 3 games against the Astros. 2 shutouts and 1 6-1 yesterday. Did he hold up in time? Yes, he did, says Harry Wendelstedt. So it's 2-2 to Gary Carter. Everybody talks about what a surprise the Cardinals have been. What about the Expos?
They have really done a job, and they're moving up. Game and a half out.
I mentioned Hubie Brooks earlier. Hubie with that 24-game batting streak last year. And in the Carter trade, of course, along with Herm Winningham and Mike Fitzgerald, Floyd Yeoman's the pitcher. Check swing. So it's still 2-2 to Gary Carter. Look at Glenn Hubbard out there, almost behind second base. Some teams play Carter in the shift, and there's Glenn Hubbard way over.
Carter in that swing looked as though his knee hurt him.
It did. I was thinking the same thing. Looked like it buckled on him a little bit. Popped up. And Paul Zuvella, the shortstop, makes the catch, and they're 2 away. Well, you know his average is going to suffer.
You know what he does before the game's in? He goes in and rides a stationary bicycle for 15 minutes just to loosen that knee up.
Strawberry the batter. Darrell 0 for 1. A pitch around situation here with George Foster on deck. And a strike. 0-1 to Darrell Strawberry. Just as I said, a pitch around situation.
Well, they play the game differently.
It's a different game. Huh? Ripped to right field. Is it fair? Foul ball. You know, the day Strawberry came off of yesterday, he's locked in. You got a right-handed pitcher.
Much more effective against right-hand batters.
Yep.
Strawberry given a chance to hit, and he almost had an extra base hit and another run batted in. Darrell just a shade out in front, and the ball curving just in the foul territory.
Mets leading 4-1. Hernandez at second base. 2 out. We're in the 3rd. Now you got to try to get Strawberry out of there with the count 0-2.
Well, the pitcher really has an advantage if he's thinking here, because he really has first base open. He can throw him 4 pitches in a row just outside of the strike zone, anywhere he wants. Get Strawberry to go after it.
Yes, sir. Ripped to left field, but Terry Harper there. Strawberry didn't get all of it. Boy, Eddie Haas and Pascal Perez flirting with danger there. But the Mets do pick up 2 runs on 3 hits, and they strand a runner. And after 3 innings of play, it's 4-1 New York.
To lead it off for the Braves, 4-1. The Mets lead it as we go to the top of the 4th inning. And Murph takes low for ball 1. Murphy drove in a run with a ground out to shortstop Rafael Santana in the 1st inning. And as usual, Murphy struggling against New York pitching. 1-1. Only 8 hits and a 167 average against the Mets this year.
And he has no home runs, and he has driven in only 5. 2 of those were big runs that he drove in. That was to put the Braves up in a game that went 19 innings.
2-1 now. Of course, you compare that to what he's doing against the league, with the league leading 23 homers and league leading 70 RBIs. And there's quite a contrast. Foul off of Gary Carter, and the count now 2-2. Murphy is also 2nd in the league in slugging percentage now. Pedro Guerrero the leader, but Murphy right behind him. And of course, he's among the leaders in just about every category, including the leader in the National League in runs scored with 68. And he pops one up into short right field. Backman and Hernandez, and it's Keith who takes it for the 1st out.
Well, let's check out the American League. Blue Jays 4, the A's 1 in the top of the 3rd. Angels and Red Sox just underway. Royals playing the Orioles, and they're just underway there. Tigers 1, the Rangers nothing in the bottom of the 2nd. No scores. The Yankees play the Twins, and that game just started. And also the Indians against the White Sox. And another one, Mariners against the Brewers.
There's Bob Horner, who grounded to 3rd to end the 1st inning, and he takes a strike from Terry Leach. Horner in his last 5 ball games is hitting .523 with 10 RBIs in those 5 games. And he hits one to Santana, who gets a nice hop. 2 out.
Well, Raphael playing Horner perfectly. Was right in front of that ball when it was hit. Shaded over in the hole.
You know, you're talking, Ralph, about Eddie Haas and his decision to pitch to Strawberry there, as Terry Harper will be the batter. Harper singled his first time up. Earlier in the year, Eddie Haas did a curious thing, and he did do it twice. He said you'd like to see him do it again. Brad Coments was hitting ahead of Dale Murphy in the order. Coments not going well. And he had Coments bunt with a man at first base, sacrificed the guy over with Dale Murphy coming up next. And, of course, in both occasions, the opposition walked Murphy, who was red hot at the time. And, in essence, he took the bat out of Murphy's hands twice in a row.
Well, in April, he had some sort of April.
In the hole, Santana can't get it, and Harper is 2 for 2.
Harper has also worn out the Mets. That is his 16th hit this year off the Mets in 12 ball games. That's right through the hole, just beyond Santana. Harper now 6 for 12 in this series. But getting back to Dale Murphy, in the month of April, he hit 9 home runs and drove in 29 runs. So you're going to bunt in front of him so they can walk him?
That's exactly what happened, not once but twice. So you could have seen him do it again. Chris Chambliss tried to bunt, and Chambliss wound up reaching on a fielder's choice as they got the lead runner Harper. Chris has hit .444 in his last 8 ball games and .409 in the month of July. 2 out with Harper at first. And a fastball for strike 1. Chris is 1 for 6 in this series. Strike 2. Terry Leach has scattered 4 hits, 1 in each inning, and allowed a run back in the first. Just outside, 1-2.
Chambliss has hit his only home run this year against the Mets.
Ripped, but Hernandez right there to spear the one hopper, and the inning is over. A hit and 1 left in the 4th for Atlanta. In the middle of the 4th here at Shea, 4-1. The Mets leading. Now a word from Garcia Vega.
Right cheer.
Rat cheer. That's what they say down in Atlanta. Now, that's really a Texas phrase, I think. Rat cheer. George Foster walked and scored in the 2nd inning ahead of Howard Johnson's 2-run home run. George hitting .338 in the last 18, is 1 for 6 in the series, and he takes the ball. And look at the Mets record in July. Not too shabby. Check swing foul, and it's 1-1.
Foster had an unusual walk his first time up.
He doesn't walk often. He's walked more this year, though, than the past couple of years. That's fouled out of play. 1-2.
The walk was his 26th.
That's a lot for him in a half a year.
Oh, when you think that Babe Ruth set the record of 170 in a 154 game season.
Last year, all season, George only walked 30 times, and the year before that, 38. So he's already, with 26 walks, close to his season total of last year. 1-2. 2-2. Grounded foul, and the count remains 2-2. George has been hot. 22 RBIs in the last 22 games. And he leads the club with 46. Actually, now Keith Hernandez is the leader with 47. Chief picking up an RBI in the third inning. Foster will wait for another airliner.
I think he fouled that ball off his foot. Trying to get the pain out of it before he steps in the batter's box. One time you could excuse George Foster for slowing up the ballgame. He is notorious for that.
Ripped to left field. Harper coming on. Can't get it. Foster smokes a line drive to left field to lead off the fourth inning with a base hit.
Well, Harper tries to slide in underneath it, but he never got to it. Ball short hopping him and bouncing up. So George comes up with a single on the try by Terry Harper in left field. Harper started his career as a pitcher and pitched for 4 years before he was moved into the outfield.
And fortunately for Harper and the Braves, he had his body in front of the ball, or it might have skipped over him and gone for extra bases. Johnson with a 2-run home run, his 6th of the year, back in the second. Takes a ball low. That's a little high. 2-0. Hojo now has 4 homers and 12 RBIs in the last 13 games. Davy Johnson, I don't think he's
that's not a sign. He's just picking at himself.
Got an itch on the shoulder. You better watch it, Davy. You might put something on.
But that's happened a lot.
That's right. There's a strike on the outside corner. 2-1.
There was a writer named Barney Komenko. He used to cover the Mets, and he used to cover the Giants. And when DeRosa was manager of the Giants, one day he said, Barney, you put on all the signs from the press box. And so they'd relay the sign. Barney put on the steel sign about 4 times because the sign was removing his glasses.
Rick Camp warming in the Atlanta bullpen. As Pascual Perez has been in trouble in the second, trouble in the third, given up 4 runs, 2 in each of those innings, and Foster has led off the fourth with a base hit. You got to be careful when you decide what the signs are going to be, that they're not some nervous habit that you have. And he gets Hojo with the slider. First strikeout for Pascual Perez.
Now this is a good slider. It's a hard throwing pitch, and it slides just a slight amount. And he gets him for that first strikeout.
1 away in the fourth. And here's Rafael Santana, who lined out to first baseman Chris Chambliss. Ball 1. A run on 4 hits for Atlanta, 4 runs on 5 hits for the Mets. Down low, 2-0. Santana studying third base coach Bud Harrelson. Foster at first, 1 away. Line drive speared by Hubbard, and he doubles off Foster at first base. A double play ends the fourth inning as Foster gets doubled off on the line drive. It's still 4-1 New York after 4. We're back after this for Sports Illustrated. Who fly deep to left. Well, not deep, but was retired on a nice play by Foster. Leads it off and smashes one right at Howard Johnson, who picks it clean for the first out.
Well, Cerrone had to sue Howard Johnson. Johnson took away a double from him the other day, and now here again another hard smash turned into an out. Cerrone having a tough series, twice robbed of base hits in this ball game.
And another good play by Hojo. One out in the fifth. And here's Paul Zuvella. Zuvella was retired on a good play by Rafael Santana to end the second inning. Pretty good day so far for Terry Leach, who was pressed into service because of the illness to Ed Lynch. And a swing and a miss on the slider, strike one. And we want to wish Eddie well as he's in the hospital, resting and scheduled to be released tomorrow, and I'm sure watching the ball game. 1-1. Ed suffering from a gastrointestinal problem, which apparently, thankfully, is not serious.
Better known as the Craig Swan syndrome.
Swanee had that throughout his career. Popped into short center. Backman battles the sun and makes the play, 2 away.
Well, the masked man returns to fight for justice in Zorro, Monday's movie at 1 p.m. on 9 in the afternoon.
Love those swashbuckling adventures. Pascual Perez will hit here in the fifth inning, trailing 4-1. Perez retired on a bunt play. Back to Terry Leach in the third inning.
That Zorro was pretty good with that foil.
Yes. There is the doctor with his shades on. Dwight, who won yesterday, to give him a record of 14-3 on the year.
You'd rather talk about his base hit.
That's right.
His pitches are all alike.
There's a guy who loves to swing the bat too, Perez. 1-1. A little high and tight, 2-1.
Is that Tom Gorman?
It looks like Tom. He just went from a blue hat to a white hat, trying to be a good guy. 3-1 now. These umpires can't stay out from behind the plate, can they? Gorman's back there in the white shirt. What a funny guy he is. He's got more of a career now that he's quit umpiring than he did when he was an umpire.
He appeared on What's My Line with his young umpire's gear on. They couldn't guess him.
Were they blindfolded? Perez gets a 2-out walk, the first walk issued by Terry Leach.
Here comes the right fielder.
And he will be at first for Claudell Washington.
If you're looking for why Terry has pitched well, that's only his second walk in pitching close to 18 innings.
He has exhibited outstanding control. Claudell 1 for 2, grounded out in the first and singled to center in the third. It was his fifth hit in this series. He's 5 for 15. I think that's 333.
5 for 15?
Yeah.
Even on Sunday.
Claudell fouls it off himself. 0-1. I'm not too strong in the math department. Perez at first, 2 away. Ripped down the line, but it's going to be foul.
That was a little hanging slider up there, and Claudell really got the good part of the bat on it, but was just a shade out in front. And this is really what you're happy about, because, well, that ball shouldn't have been pulled foul. The ball wasn't that far inside.
In other words, Terry got away with one there. 0-2. 1-2. Johnson spears the line drive. Another good play by Hojo as he picks 2 line drives here in the 5th inning.
Well, after the first game of this series, the first day back from the All-Star break, when Johnson made 3 errors in the ball game, he has been unbelievable at third base. Really great reaction.
1 left on the walk, but no runs here in the 5th for Atlanta. It is 4-1 New York after 4.5. And now here's a word from Burger King.
Leach might be saying, do you know me, to the Atlanta Braves. They released him from their organization. Terry gets his 2nd hit, and look at this head-first slide as he goes in for a double.
He ripped the first pitch from Perez right down the left field line, and even though Terry Harper was playing him fairly shallow, Leach never hesitated. Harper makes a pretty good play on the ball, but Leach, hustling all the way, dives in.
So Terry with his 2nd hit of the ball game and on at second base with no one out as we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the batter's Len Dykstra. Len is 0 for 2 in the game. And the fastball for a ball. Mets picking up their 6th base hit. Dykstra has grounded out twice. First baseman and third baseman in to guard against the bunt. And this ball hit right at Chambliss, and Leach is going to be trapped between 2nd and 3rd. Horner has it. Now the throw to Savella, and now to Cerrone, who makes the tag. And Leach on a hot summer's day getting his money's worth on the base pass. He stayed in that rundown long enough, and through the poor execution by the Atlanta Braves, Dykstra able to replace Leach at 2nd.
Well, that's the key right there. Even though it may take a little out of him, Chambliss firing to Horner across the diamond as Terry was hung up in no man's land. Zavella runs him back, and Cerrone finally, after 2 efforts, tags him out. But he did stay in the rundown long enough to get Dykstra to 2nd. So in essence, they exchange places, and of course the Mets with more speed now in 2nd.
Now the Mets are better off on that play. So they have a faster man at second base, and the batter will be Wally Backman. Backman in this game has tripled and driven in a run.
Terry Leach was only 1 for 8. Brent Gaff doing a little groundskeeping in the bullpen. Leach was only 1 for 8 for his major league career before today, and he's 2 for 2.
And the breaking ball for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Dykstra, the runner at second base. And Backman an idea about bunting.
There are the home runs in the American League today. George Brett is 14th, a 2-run shot. Dave Winfield is 13th for the Yankees, a 3-run homer. Matt Young for Baltimore is 10th. Alvin Davis of Seattle and Gorman Thomas of Seattle both hit home runs.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Wally Backman. Mets leading by a score of 4-1. This ball has popped up. Dale Murphy making the call. Now the catch, and 2 men away. Dykstra holding at second base, and it will bring up Keith Hernandez. Rick Camp checking out the airplanes in the bullpen.
And we are right in the flight path today.
Hernandez doubled in a run back in the 3rd. He's now 1 for 2 in the game. He's now with 47 home runs, 1 more than George Foster. Should say 47 RBIs, 1 more than Foster. Full house here today as the Mets lead 4-1. 2 men away, bottom half of the 5th inning. The Mets can win here today, and the Dodgers continue their winning ways against the Cardinals. The Mets could go into first place. Dodgers have defeated the Cardinals 3 straight. Fastball, a strike call.
Good fastball from Perez in a good location. And did you see the little action of Pasquale after the pitch? Watch him call it here. Steve Reich.
He's a hot dog. He's behind, too. Back to the hard slider, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
And a couple in the National League. Juan Samuel. And, of course, Hojo's 2-run shot here for the Mets.
Slider hit down the left field side. It'll be in there. Coming in to score is Dykstra. Hernandez stopping after rounding first base and going back to the bag. So the Mets get another as they lead 5-1. And Hernandez with his second RBI.
And now batting for the Mets.
Keith now with 48 to lead the Mets. And boy, he is so good going the other way with an outside pitch. Content with the single as Harper makes a good play and a good throw. And the Mets lead it 5-1.
Boy, Keith left some skid marks out there as he put on the brakes after rounding first. And that's ball 1. Gary Carter has popped up twice. And another pop-up, this one though out of play, going back into the crowded stands.
What a day and what a crowd. Very hard to find even one empty seat here, Ralph.
Mets are on their way to a 3 million paid attendance season. Barring a strike. They scored 74 runs in 12 games against the Braves this year. And Carter gets plunked. And with that pitch, here comes Eddie Haas out to the mound. That should be all for Pascual Perez.
Well, you'd have to think here that Pascual was getting a little tired of what is happening today, and so he just decided he was going to plunk somebody, and it happened to be Gary Carter.
Carter almost got hit earlier in this ball game. You'd like to find out why. There must be a story behind that. That's Rick Camp coming in as Perez departs. Perez getting credit for 4 innings. 4 2/3 innings. So far charged with 5 runs. Gave up a total of 7 hits. Did not strike out a batter. Walked 1 and hit 1. And Rick Camp making his way in. You wonder why Perez even hit in the 5th inning with Atlanta trailing 4-1. But
well, you have to wonder a lot of things about the way Eddie Haas has managed this club this year. And while Camp comes in, we will tell you about the Gary Carter poster that you can acquire through the Leukemia Society of America. Channel 9 and Gary, all 3 have teamed up to offer you a full-color poster of Gary in action. And to get your copy, just send a check or money order for $5 to the Leukemia Society. Gary Carter poster, Box 77, New York, 10001, and all proceeds from the sale of the posters will go directly to the Leukemia Society of America. Needless to say, a very worthy cause.
And Camp coming in the ball game, making his 34th appearance. He has a record of 2-4, and he has 1 save, an earned run average of 3.25. One of those losses that Camp has on his record, a loss in the 19-inning ball game won by the Mets 16-13, and it was Camp who kept it going when he hit a home run with 2 men out, no one on a 2-strike count. And it went to the 19th when the Mets won it.
Put it back on. There we go.
It reminds me of your outline. 1 left on the walk.
1 left on the walk, huh? Like an Oriental cooking show. Well, included in the 5 runs that Perez gave up was the 8th home run he has allowed. And that is not a mask. That's some hairdo. using the term loosely. Doing the hair loosely, too.
And Camp will be pitching to Darryl Strawberry. Darryl hitless today, 0 for 2. Runners at first and second base, and Camp's first pitch of ball. Darryl 5 for 15 in this series, including his 2 home runs yesterday. And he fouls off a fastball. Mets leading 5-1. Strawberry batting with 2 men out here in the 5th inning. 2 men on. And the breaking ball for ball 2. 2 balls to strike. And that fastball low. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, this is leave your feet time right here with 2 guys on, 2 out. A 4-run lead on a 3-1 pitch. You can really look for something and just drive the heck out of it.
And it's a line shot up the middle. Hernandez will try and score. Murphy a great arm, but the throw is offline. And Hernandez scores on Strawberry's RBI. So Darryl picking up his first RBI of this ball game, his 29th of the year, as Hernandez scores from second.
Well, Darryl takes that pitch on the outside part of the plate and didn't really get all the good part of the bat on it, but he is so strong and he lines it right up the middle. The ball got away from Cerrone. Here's the swing. The ball got away from Cerrone on the throw by Murphy. Camp, however, was backing up as Gary Carter had an idea about going to third as the ball squirted away, but Camp pounced on it fairly quickly.
So runners still at first and second. Mets now leading 6-1, and the batter will be George Foster, who has walked and scored. He also has singled. But after the single, he was doubled off at first base.
That run, incidentally, also charged to Pascual Perez.
Perez came in with an earned run average of 5.88. That will go up because 6 runs scored in this game by the Mets, all earned. Perez working 4 2/3 innings. And Foster hits it high in the air to deep center field. Going back is Murphy, and that ball is over the wall. A 3-run home run by George Foster. And the Mets lead 9-1.
The crowd waiting for a curtain call from Foster, and here he comes. George now has driven in 25 runs in the last 22 games, including 7 homers. This ball just kept carrying. Murphy looked a couple of times. He couldn't believe it was going to go out, and it went right over dead center field. That's a long way in this ballpark.
And it hit the flagpole in straightaway center field right over the 410 mark. Now the batter is Howard Johnson, who has also homered in this game, his 6th home run of the year. And this one chopped out to Chambliss, and he makes the play, and that'll do it.
Look at Murphy. He's looking. He thought he had a chance to catch it right there, and then he had to go to the wall and had no chance.
So the Mets pick up 5 runs on just 3 base hits, and they leave none. And the score at the end of 5, it is the Mets 9 and the Atlanta Braves 1. Now here's a word.
A sports fan. He's an avid golfer as well.
Remember when he and Toots Shore made a bet about running around the block? And they ran in opposite directions. Whoever got back was to win the bet, and it was for a pretty good sum of money. Gleason hailed a taxi and got back about 10 minutes ahead of Toots Shore. What was that girl's name? Ruiz that took the subway, huh? There's a little line drive down the left field line, but it's foul as Hubbard bids for another base hit. He doubled and scored in the first.
Yeah, Rosie Ruiz, who in the marathon took the subway. No wonder she came in first.
Mets leading 9-1, 9 runs on 9 hits. Atlanta 1 run on 4, and the Mets well on their way to having a 10-2 series against Atlanta this year. They have won 9 of the 11 games played, and this is the last meeting between these two clubs this year. Unless they meet in the playoffs as they did back in 1969 when the Mets beat Atlanta 3 straight and then went on to take on Baltimore. They defeated Baltimore 4 out of 5 in the World Series. Santana will try it, and he does it. So Hubbard is out. Santana is so smooth.
Atlanta Braves center fielder.
There's the National League scoreboard. Houston leading Montreal 3-1 top of the 5th. In the bottom of the 3rd, Philadelphia shutting out Cincinnati 3-0. Later on, it'll be Pittsburgh at San Diego, Chicago at San Francisco, and the one the Mets fans will be watching, St. Louis at Los Angeles.
Now the batter will be Dale Murphy. Dale is 0 for 2 in the game. This one hit deep to center field. It'll be out of here, I believe. Dykstra to look, and that's all he can do. Dale Murphy with his first home run of the year against the Mets, and only his 9th base hit this season against the Mets. But Murphy leading the league in home runs and runs batted in.
24 round trippers now for Murph, and his 71st RBI of the year. Both tops in the National League. 72nd, excuse me. He did drive in a run earlier with the ground out. So Murphy's 2nd RBI of the ball game. I'll tell you, nobody can drive and go out and get an outside pitch, I don't think, like Dale Murphy these days in baseball.
Well, he is strong, and he got all of that one. That's the first home run given up by Terry Leach this year, and it brings up Bob Horner, who's 0 for 2. And the ball fouled away. The count 1 ball, 1 strike. Horner with that graphic of 2 home runs in the game 4 times. He's had 1 home run in this series. His only home run against the Mets this year. He's never hit the Mets very well in his career as far as home runs are concerned. But he's a little like lightning. Somewhere he's going to strike. He's that good.
Yeah, and he's hot right now, too, batting .333 in the month of July coming into the game.
2-1 the count. He has that very short stride and that very compact swing.
Has a swing similar to that of Bill Madlock of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he has considerably more power than does Madlock.
Another one like him, Jeff Burrows.
Yes.
3-1 the count. And a hard smash over the third base bag and down the line in the left field. Foster stops it. Horner eases in with a 2-base hit. This ball really a vicious hop for Johnson. He almost got to it. He's turned in some sparkling plays in this game.
Well, if Hojo would have been able to pick this ball, it would have been one of those look what I found jobs, because I mean it took a vicious hop as he went to backhand it. Could have come up and hit him right in the head. And even though Foster slapped it around, it made no difference as Horner had a double all the way.
So Leach now with a runner at second and 1 out, and the batter will be Terry Harper, who's 2 for 2. Leach pitching here in the 6th inning, the longest he has gone in the major leagues since his complete game victory over Philadelphia back on October 1st, 1982. And a strike call.
I'm sure that's a consideration that Davey Johnson is thinking about, because as you see, Tom Gorman is up and throwing now in the bullpen. In addition to that, Leach ran the bases, if you'll remember, a considerable amount in a rundown play. He's been on base twice, picking up 2 base hits.
Ground ball to third. Another tough play, and this one literally booted by Howard Johnson. Hit him in the chest, and then he kicked it for 2 points.
Well, this is a do-or-die hop right here as Hojo got caught in between.
First baseman, Chris.
Couldn't come up with it cleanly. We'll see how they score it. Again, pounded down right in front of the plate, and then the in-between hop to Johnson. He had his body in front of it, and they are scoring it. An error on Johnson.
So runners now at first and second. Horner did not come over to third. So he remains at second base on that error, and Chambliss the batter. Chambliss 0 for 2. He fouls off a fastball. Chambliss hit a smash to the first baseman Hernandez in the 4th, and Keith turned it into an out. And I guess everybody will remember forever the home run that Chambliss hit off Mark Littell to give the Yankees the victory in the playoff championships in game number 5, 1976.
Chris trying to round the bases after hitting that home run. One of the oft repeated pieces of videotape, as you see.
George Brett had tied the ball game with a home run off Grant Jackson in the 8th inning. 3-1 the count. The winning pitcher of that game was Dick Tedrow. Dirt. Terry Forster throwing in the bullpen.
Well, with only 1 out and 2 base hits here, including a home run by Dale Murphy in the inning, and now a 3-1 count to Chris Chambliss. Gary Carter going out to 1, try to settle each down, but 2, I think, also allow Gorman a little time to warm up should the call come.
Mets leading 9-2.
Leach is scheduled to bat second in the next inning, so I'm sure it's one reason why Davey would like him to finish here.
And that pitch inside.
Scoreboard. Now Chambliss isn't sure if he's walked or not.
I was trying to figure this one out. Chambliss either doesn't want to walk or he didn't know the count.
Well, I don't know if the scoreboard was right. Now home plate umpire Jerry Davis,
he's not sure what the count was.
And I think Gary Carter's really questioning him on it, because I think Carter thought the count was 2-2. The scoreboard did say 3-1. Now Davey's going to come out and talk to Davis about it.
Well, the home plate umpire has an indicator that he keeps the ball strike count on, and he's supposed to keep score, and he's not supposed to get the score or the count off the scoreboard. I think that Davis looked down to first base umpire Harry Windelstadt and sort of did it in a quizzical way. What wasn't count?
Yeah, well, I think the real tip-off was the fact that Chambliss is standing there at home plate. He doesn't think it's ball 4.
Carter didn't think it was ball 4. But it doesn't count. Jerry Davis said it was. And as you pointed out, Steve, the scoreboard did have it 3 balls and 1 strike. So that walk loads the bases, and it brings up Rick Cerrone. Davey right in the middle of changing pitchers or thinking about it. Second walk given up in this game by Terry Leach, making only his 3rd major league start. Cerrone is 0 for 2, twice hitting the ball well and twice ending up empty. And that one a ball.
Rick was robbed of a base hit on a diving catch by Foster in left field, and then robbed of an extra base hit when third baseman Howard Johnson speared a line drive.
And it's ball 2, and Leach certainly showing signs of tiring here. Home run by Murphy, a double by Horner. Harper safe on an error on a difficult chance, and then the walk to Chambliss.
I'm sure Davey's number one thought and hope right now would be a double play. Cerrone a good double play candidate.
Well, he's got 7 runs to play with. That does help. If it were a close ball game, he'd be gone.
That's right.
And a good sinking fastball for a strike. Five and 2/3 innings pitched so far. 2 runs, both earned. 6 hits, 2 walks, no strikeouts. And another one just missing, and now a walk here would probably send Leach to the shower. Nowhere to put him. And the count this time is 3 balls and 1 strike. And it's grounded foul, so it goes to 3 and 2.
He's ready, huh?
Send me in, coach.
A good-looking boy.
He's out of uniform, though.
He's got the fans' uniform of the day.
3 and 2. And it's hit to center field. Dykstra back, and he'll have room to make the play. Horner tagged up at third, scores easily. Behind him, Harper tagging up at second and going over to third. And it now is a 9-3 ball game in favor of the Mets. Sacrifice fly, run batted in for Rick Cerrone.
For Cerrone, his 14th RBI of the year, as he hit it a long way, plenty deep enough. But the Mets will obviously give up that run, especially if they can get out of the inning without any further damage.
Oh, that ball's really carrying to center field.
And it's unusual too, Ralph, because there really isn't any wind to help it. What wind there has been is blowing in from right field.
And now the batter will be Paul Zavella. Zavella 0 for 2, robbed of a base hit and a fine over-the-shoulder catch by Santana, the shortstop, his first time up. Runners at first and third, 2 men away, and that's ball 1. Davey Johnson able to have a little relaxation in his last 2 ball games. Another one out to center field. Dykstra is there. And that will do it. 2 runs in on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 5.5 innings, the Mets 9 and the Braves 3. Now here's inning, the Mets leading 9-3, and Rafael Santana, the batter. Rafael has hit the ball hard twice with no luck at all. Lined out to first and lined into a double play to the second baseman in the 4th. Rusty Staub is on deck for the Mets. And there's a base hit. Santana coming up with his first hit after hitting the ball hard all 3 times he has been up. So Rick Camp greeted by Santana, and now greeting Rusty Staub to the plate, some 50,000 fans.
Rusty, as you see, hitting .222, a homer and 5 RBIs. All RBIs have come as a pinch hitter. He is 5 for 24 pinch hitting this year. And his next pinch hit will be yet another milestone for him.
And a strike call.
Rusty needs 1 more for 95 career hits, or 95 hits this year, I should say. 95 career pinch hits.
In his career.
We'll get it right.
All-time.
95 would tie him with Vic Davalillo and Larry Bittner for 10th on the all-time list.
All-time list headed by Manny Mota with 150. 2-1 the count.
And that's going to be a record that's going to be tough to break. Because you've only got the National League really that has a shot at it with the DH in the American League.
And I think another factor that's in there is that you have to be with a bad ball club to get that many chances to pinch hit. You don't get a chance to pinch hit when your team's ahead.
True.
Up the middle and cut off by Hubbard. They turn it into a double play. So Rusty grounds into the 110th double play made by the Atlanta Braves. They lead the National League in that department.
And it's their second in the ball game as Hubbard makes a nice play. Second base umpire Terry Tata had to skip rope a little bit there and obviously could have interfered with Hubbard's vision. But Hubbard stayed with it.
So no one on and 2 men out, and Len Dykstra batting. Len is 0 for 3. And Rick Camp with a breaking ball gets a swinging strike. Camp came in the game in the 5th inning with 2 men on. Gave up a base hit and a home run. There's a drive to right field. Dykstra gets his first base hit. Now everyone in the lineup has been on base in this game for the New York Mets. The only one not to have a hit, Gary Carter, who was on him when he was hit by a pitch ball.
Dykstra now has 18 hits in the 15 games that he has played center field since replacing Mookie Wilson.
Now it's Wally Backman, who tripled to extend his hitting streak to 12 consecutive games back in the 3rd. And that's ball 1. Mets now with 11 base hits as they lead 9-3. Is fouled away.
The line, incidentally, on Pascual Perez as the book finally closed on him after the RBI single the 3-run homer by Foster off of Camp. He went 5 2/3, gave up a total of 7 earned runs on 7 hits, struck out 1, walked 1, allowed a home run, and hit a batter.
And Backman puts it in the air over into shallow left field. Terry Harper makes a catch, and that retires the side. Coming in for the broadcast now with his rule book, old Rules McCarver. Right now, though, no runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. The score at the end of 6. The Mets 9 and the Braves 3. Now
4-4 with no saves. Tom, an ERA of 4.89. This is his 21st appearance. In 38 2/3, he's walked 13, struck out 26. And in relief of Terry Leach, who pitched very well, Gorman will face a pinch hitter in Brad Kamensk. And back in to work the last 3 with me is Tim McCarver.
All right, Steve. Brad Kamensk will be the pinch hitter, as you see, with the Mets up 9-3. Kamensk batting .217 on the season. Swings and misses at the first pitch by Tom Gorman. Brad 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter. So Kamensk looking for his first pinch hit of the year. And a fork ball hit the shin guard, I guess, of Jerry Davis. 9-3 lead. The Mets once again thrashing the Braves, scalping the Braves. Looking for their 10th win of the year in 12 meetings. One and 2 to Brad Kamensk.
And the Mets have really done a job on Western Division teams. If they hold on and win this game, they will be 32-14 against the West collectively.
2 games under 500 against the Eastern Division teams, 21-23. And the check swing, but the pitch nipped the corner. First strikeout for Gorman. And with 1 away, the top of the order, Claudell Washington.
Here's the American League scoreboard. In the top of the 7th inning, Oakland leading Toronto. Nope, Toronto leading Oakland 4-3. Top of the 5th inning, Boston leads California 4-2. In the top of the 5th, it's Baltimore leading Kansas City 4-2. Top of the 6th, Detroit leading Texas 5-4. In the bottom of the 3rd, the Yankees are shutting out Minnesota 4-0. In the top of the 3rd, Cleveland shutting out Chicago 2-0.
Ball hit well to center field. Dykstra back. This ball is off the wall. Washington will have at least 3. Dykstra gets to it in a hurry, throws it in, but Claudell Washington with his 5th triple of the year.
And his 2nd hit of the ball game.
second baseman.
This ball just misses getting out of here, and the ball carrying very well today. Dykstra can't reach it as it's off the top of the wall, and Claudel, who runs extremely well, has an easy triple.
So there's Claudel at third base with one out. 9-3 ball game, and the batter Glenn Hubbard. Base hit left field, so it's now a 9-4 ball game. All of those tack-on runs, you don't realize how important they are until you get in a situation like this, and then you start thinking, had they not scored one here, one there, then it's a tight ball game.
Well, Hubbard is really hot. Second hit of the game for Hubbard. 7th hit in this series. But you're right, Timmy. They tend to creep up on you.
Had Foster not hit the home run, of course, it's a 6-4 ball game. They don't look as important when the team's scoring them as they do in situations like this. Now a 9-4 game, and Dale Murphy fouls one off.
Here's a line on Terry Leach, incidentally. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. He gave up 6 hits. He did not strike out anybody. He walked 2 and allowed his first home run of the year. And that was to that man right there, Dale Murphy.
Couldn't hold up on the fork ball. 0-2 to Murphy.
Murphy came into the game hitting .333 for the year with men on base. In fact, 15 of his 24 home runs have come with men on base. There's Mookie.
Forkball outside. He has hit 24 home runs, 9 to center field, 7 to left, and 8 to right. So he's a spray hitter with power. Talking to Mookie about his shoulder the other day, and he said doing a lot of isometrics for it. As Murphy lifts one to right field, Strawberry there, and they're 2 away. But no way really to count on Mookie for the better part of the next month or so. And the batter, Bob Horner. Horner 1 for 3 with a run scored. He doubled in the 6th inning following Murphy's home run. Well, those Reds have come back to tie the Phillies 3-3. That game delayed an hour and 15 minutes because of rain in Cincinnati. Forkball is low and away. Good play, Carter.
Gary really double clutches a little bit here as he takes an extra hop. Watch the pressure on that right knee. He comes out, and oh man, you can see the pain exhibited in his body there as he had to put a lot of weight on that leg.
That's well pointed out because it hurts more when you're in a half a squat than it does to go all the way down. The weight of your body really takes the you can see him flexing that knee right there as if on cue.
I'll tell you, I've had so many knee problems. I can just feel exactly what he's going through. It makes my legs hurt to watch it.
Ripped past Johnson into left field, and Foster coming up with it. So that's going to be a base hit for Bob Horner. He scorched that ball, and the batter Terry Harper with 2 out, runners at first and second.
Well, Hojo had taken some base hits away, but he couldn't quite come up with that ball as it hit very close to him, and it was by him in a hurry.
Quite a difference in having a knee problem and having to catch with it, though.
Oh, man. I mean, that is the worst position you can play in this game and have a knee problem.
Both parts of that statement were correct. Forkball is swung on and missed. 0-1 to Terry Harper.
Mutually exclusive of one another.
It's a compound sentence.
Yes.
2 independent clauses, right?
I don't know how he's doing it. I really don't. I mean, that's, as you know, Timmy, not easy when you're 100%.
No, it's not. 0-1 to Harper. And a swing and a miss. 0-2. And I guess, you know, we really haven't talked about the strike situation. There's not a lot to talk about. It's been well chronicled. But I know Davy Johnson's thinking is that he's going to try to catch Carter and make the decision after August 6th if there indeed is a decision to be made as to whether to cut on it during the season or not. Fork ball low, 1-2.
Well, Davy has said, and appropriately, he doesn't even want to think about the rest of the season without Gary Carter. Obviously, he has been and is a big man in the Mets lineup, and especially behind the plate.
Another fork ball outside, so it's 2-2 to Harper. And I guess a lot of people are thinking, well, if he can't play 100%, do you want him playing at 65-70% capacity as opposed to somebody else healthy? The answer is obviously in your screen right there. Yes. Fastball inside, so it's 3-2. Runners will be off. 2 out. Hubbard at second and Horner at first. And Stottlemyre on the phone. He is not calling home either.
No, nor out for some chicken.
Ball hit well to left field. Foster back. This ball is out of here. And the Atlanta Braves has squeezed the score to 9-7. Oh, baby. What was a laugher is now a smiler. 9-7, Mets lead it.
Well, Tom Gorman unable to hold a 9-2 lead. Has been touched here in this inning for 4 runs. And Harper got all of that ball, hit it well over the 358 sign for a 3-run home run, his 9th home run of the year, and he now has 46 RBIs.
And Davy Johnson wanted to go through this game without using Roger McDowell. Roger pitched in Friday night's game, but he doesn't appear to have that luxury. McDowell is up and throwing in the Met bullpen. A 2-run lead for the Mets. The Braves scored 2 in the 6th and 4 here in the 7th. Line to center. Dykstra there, and he makes the catch. But the Braves come back with 4 runs on 4 base hits, no errors, and nobody left. And after 6.5, it's 9-7 New York. We'll be right back. Right here.
2 1/3 innings of work. He's walked only 16, struck out 27, allowed 4 homers.
Hernandez 2 for 3 on the afternoon. 2 RBIs and a run scored. And Gerald Perry entered the game with Chambliss making the last out. Perry will bat 9th and Forster 6th. And the fastball down and in. 1-1 to Hernandez. McDowell continues to throw for the Mets, so you may look for him in the top of the 8th inning. Ripped to right. This is going to be at least 2. You talk about in a groove. Keith Hernandez is locked in, brother.
His second double of the game, his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Hernandez has already driven in 2 runs and scored 1. And here's a tough left-handed pitcher, and say hello. I mean, he just pulls this ball down the line with some kind of authority. When Keith is going as well as he's going right now, it makes no difference whether there's a left-hander or a right-hander out there.
And you said it right. As Roger McDowell continues to throw, Terry Forster, a very tough left-handed pitcher, especially on left-handed hitters. Gary Carter, the batter, with nobody out. Hernandez at second. Carter 0 for 2. He has walked and scored a run. Fastball low. Slider inside, 2-0. Nine to 7. The Mets with 12 hits and the Braves with 10. Mets up by 2. 3-0 to Carter. Talking to Terry before Friday night's ball game, and he said you can look for him on the David Letterman show July 29th. He will be there in full force, no pun intended.
He and David have had quite a little back and forth going here.
Saw the concern going back and forth in Eddie Haas's mind. Ground ball to shortstop Paul Zuvella, and he throws out Carter, and here comes Hernandez, safe. After the throw, safe at first base also. Good base running by Keith Hernandez.
I'm not sure whether Carter beat it or whether the throw from Zuvella pulled Perry off the bag. Let's look at it again. Zuvella way in the hole, and that ball was a rainbow. Took a long time to get there. And Keith waiting until Zuvella released the ball, put his head down and chugged over to third base to beat the relay back from Perry. Let's see if Perry's foot's on the bag.
Looked like he pulled it off, didn't he?
Yep.
But it is scored a base hit for Gary Carter. Strawberry taps toward Perry. Hernandez in a rundown. And they got him. Well, that is not a good base running play by Keith Hernandez because it was tapped toward first base, and there was no double play in order in a play like that. And it's a tough play for a guy when you're on third base and nobody out. Good base running play by Keith.
No, it's a mistake to get hung up in this situation, and Gerald Perry did exactly the right thing. He ran right at the runner, trying to make Keith determine whether he was going to move back toward third or toward home. And after that, there was no problem getting him out. So Strawberry reaches on a fielder's choice, runners at first and second.
When you have Carter on base with that bad knee, if you get hung up, chances are he's not going to move all the way around to third base unless you have a rabbit and a rundown. And Keith not a rabbit. Mets have runners at first and second and one out. Foster fouls it back into the stands, 1-0. Make it 0-1. George with a booming home run his last time at bat, and what a big home run it has turned out to be. With a score 6-1, Mets leading. Foster made it 9-1 with a 3-run home run, his 15th of the year. Here it is 2 innings later, and it's 9-7. Slider inside. Fans, you can reach for a Michelob Light, the less filling beer with super premium taste. You can have it all with Michelob Light. And the slider inside. I would imagine that light beer might be one of the subjects discussed between Terry Forster and David Letterman, would you think?
Well, the topic of conversation so far has had to do with Big T's girth. I'm sure that may be a contributing factor.
Ball hit well to center. Murphy back. Can't get it. Carter's going to walk home. Strawberry may try to score. Here he comes. And the relay throw has dropped. 5 RBIs for Foster. Mets lead at 11-7.
Foster now 3 for 3 with a single, a double, a home run, a walk. He has scored 2 runs and driven in 5. George has driven in 27 runs now in the last 23 ball games. Murphy thought he had a chance to get that ball, but Foster really drove it, and it just went right over his head. They might have had a play on Strawberry had Zuvella not bobbled the relay throw.
As a matter of fact, Steve, Buddy Harrelson was holding up Darrell at third base, and Darrell ran through the stop side. sign. I'll get that right if I keep trying. The stop sign. And Buddy glad he did. Gene Garber warming for the Atlanta Braves. Howard Johnson batting from the right side. Johnson had a 2-run homer back in the 2nd inning. Way back to left field. Is it fair? No, sir. He hit it a ton in the air, and it just went foul. 1-1 to Johnson. Man, these Mets are putting the good part of the bat on the ball, aren't they?
This series has been unbelievable, except for the 1-0 game Friday night. The Mets have just pounded Atlanta pitching. 14 hits and 11 runs today. Of course, that's still under yesterday's production.
Won 16-4 in yesterday's ball game. 18 hits in 9 innings. And this one gets by catcher Rick Cerrone, and Foster walks to third base. So George will be there with 1 out, and now Eddie Haas will have to bring his infield in.
Well, I assume they will score this a wild pitch, as it was right at Howard Johnson's feet.
Those 18 hits in yesterday's game, the most hits allowed by Atlanta pitching this year in a 9-inning ball game. Harrelson talking with George Foster. Doubtful that anything will be on. You never know.
Forster has been greeted rudely, as was Gorman. In this inning, the Mets with 3 hits, 2 of them doubles.
Eddie Haas looks beleaguered, and you can well understand his feelings now. Swing and a miss at a high rider. If you remember, in that 19-inning game, in the 13th inning, Howard Johnson homered off Terry Forster. The 2-run homer off of Terry.
One of only 2 that Hojo has hit right-handed this year.
He has 4 left-handed. Slider misses. 3-2.
Well, this capacity crowd of near 50,000 getting their money's worth today.
Ball lifted to left field. Harper in. Foster halfway. Zuvella can't make the play. Oh, boy. Johnson into second base. Terry Harper's ball all the way, Steve.
No question about it. Harper has to call Zuvella off. That's a tough play for Zuvella. He was adamant about trying to make it, so Harper let him have the shot. But the outfielder has got to make this play. He's coming in. He has everything in front of him, including momentum going the right way. And Zuvella has it go right between his hands. Hojo way out in front got fooled on the off-speed pitch and then just popped it up. And it should have been Terry Harper's ball. Watch, Harper pulls up well in advance of the ball coming down because he did not call Zuvella off the play.
Well, it's going to be called an error, but a very tough error on Paul Zuvella. Here's Rafael Santana, but a ball that should have been caught. The error was on the thinking of left fielder Terry Harper, not on the handling by shortstop Paul Zuvella. 0-1 to Santana. He's 1 for 3. And this one pulled foul. So it's now 13. Make that 12-7. Our scoreboard has 13-8. Not even close. Now they have 11-8. The Braves do not get a run when their shortstop drops the ball. Kelvin Chapman is on deck.
Never believe the scoreboard wherever you are.
Line to Zuvella. No problem here. And the second out of the inning. Kelvin Chapman will be the pinch hitter for Tom Gorman.
Well, we were talking about the run and hit production by the Mets. This outburst of 12 runs today to go with the 16 yesterday. The first time the Mets have scored runs in double figures in back-to-back games since June of 1976 against the Cubs at Wrigley Field when they won 10-2 and 13-3. So the offense that was lacking as far as New York was concerned the first half of the year, the last couple of weeks has been here in abundance.
Fastball is inside to Chapman. Kelvin batting .174. No home runs, 6 RBIs. He has 3 doubles, and that has been the extent of his extra base total this year. 1-1.
Chapman has been much more productive as a pinch hitter, however, than he has when he has started in the lineup with the left-hander going. As a pinch hitter, he's 5 for 18 with 2 RBIs.
Base hit center field. Johnson will score. It's now 13-7 Mets. They have not let up. Talk about going for the throat. They have certainly done that against these Braves all season long.
4th run off Terry Forster in this inning. He didn't hit it hard, but he hit it where they weren't.
Center fielder, Lenny Dykstra.
And the batter, Lenny Dykstra. So with 2 out, Chapman at first base. RBI number 7 for Chapman on the year. Dykstra 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Slider and a beauty.
Hello, Ron. Ron Darling listening.
Ground ball left side. Only play at second. Got him. So 6-4 for Len Dykstra, but the Mets scored 4 more times. On 4 hits, there was 1 error and 1 left. And after 7, it's 13-7 New York. Now here's a word from Michelob Light. Well, the Mets have a new first baseman in Tom Paciorek, and on the mound, Roger McDowell.
Roger has a record of 5-3 on the year with 7 saves and a, as you see, very good ERA of 2.93. And for McDowell, his 29th appearance of the season, he's worked 67 2/3, walked 22, struck out 43, and he has allowed just 4 home runs.
And Rick Cerrone is the batter. Rick has hit the ball well all day long, but has nothing to show for it outside an RBI in the 6th. He is 0 for 2. He's flat out, lined out, and a sacrifice fly to deep center. 2-0 to Rick Cerrone.
Well, Jay Horwitz has just handed me the attendance figures for the day, Timothy, and the Mets are over 50,000 paid for the 4th time this year. A total crowd here today of 52,130, paid 50,876.
There's a strike, and that runs the count to 3-7.
The scoreboard's in good shape.
There's strike 8.
This is the most times that the Mets have drawn 50,000 plus paid per game since 1971 when they had 7 crowds.
Ground ball, Santana, and it gets through him for an error. A short hop.
Shorter than he thought.
Yeah.
Brave shortstop.
Santana ordinarily makes these plays in his sleep here, but the ball just stayed down. Looked like it just went right off the end of his glove.
Now, I think he was anticipating a short hop on that and stayed up because of that, and actually that ball could have been fielded in the air, don't you think?
Sure.
Paul Zuvella, the batter.
By Raphael, at least.
Line drive to right. It could be in there, and it's foul.
Well, apparently they have scored that as a base hit.
I think it's yet to be scored, right? They did have an error and 10 hits, and that's the way it still is. But that's on our scoreboard. It's 0-1 to Paul Zuvela. A chopper. Johnson will have to hurry, and it's the play. So Zuvela's out of there. Cerrone moving to second on the play.
Number 28, first baseman Gerald
And we
Perry.
still do not have a scoring ruling on that ball hit by Cerrone to Santana, and we'll pass it your way as soon as we get it.
There it is. It just put up a second error, so it is charged as an error on Santana.
Really not a lot of thought required on a play like that, I wouldn't think. That's an error. It's a big league error.
It's a boot all the way.
Yes, sir. Gerald Perry, the batter. Swings and misses. Perry batting 190. And there you have the misery from the Braves side. Scoreboard looks like Madison Avenue at rush hour. 0-2 to Perry.
Starting to look like the big board down on Wall Street.
It is. Well, the Braves put a lot of stock in this young man before the season was starting, but he has not produced, along with Brad Cummins. They have really been struggling and have spent the last 2 weeks on the pine. Slider fouled away.
Well, the Braves sort of made a decision at the start of the year to go with youth, and that included Perry and Kamensk and some others. Didn't work out. So now they're sort of in between. They're not playing the veterans, and yet they're not playing all the kids either.
Right. Playing the limited service guys.
And that doesn't bode well, because you got to go one way or the other. You got to stay in your lineup. For example, Rafael Ramirez has an injury, but he didn't play regularly, even when he was well.
And Perry strikes out. And that's the second out of the inning. Good fastball here.
Watch Gary Carter after this pitch. Carter thinks they're a 3 away. He's ready to roll the ball back and see you later. But there are usually 3 outs per half inning.
And the batter is going to be Claudel Washington.
Right fielder Claudel.
That happened to me one time, I think. I didn't know how many outs there were. And the bases were loaded in San Francisco, and Alvin Jackson was pitching in '66. There were 2 out, and ground ball right back to Alvin, and I'm going home, home, home. Alvin looked at me like I was wacko and threw it home, and we got the force out at home. Thankfully, I didn't complete it, because that look told me I was wrong, and I did not complete the...
You were ready to fire to first.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't wait too long until the runner was safe.
That's right. And this one a wild pitch, and Gary Carter limps back to get it. Well, that knee really giving him problems. It is, I would imagine, going to be scored a wild pitch by Roger McDowell, with Cerrone moving to third on the play.
In the dirt right at the feet of Claudel Washington. Carter had very little chance, and it is a wild pitch.
And the Mets, on a touchdown, extra point, and 2 field goals, lead the Braves. Braves' only score came in the second quarter, 13 the Mets. Way back to right field. This ball is way out of here. Oh, brother. It hit above the strike sign in right field. Man. Tremendous home run by Claudel Washington. That's a mind blower right there.
Well, Timmy, you and I have only been around here for a few years, but I have never seen a ball even hit the scoreboard proper before. I've seen him hit the base of the scoreboard where the advertising signs are, but Claudell's ball is well up on the scoreboard. His 10th home run of the year. He now has a single, a triple, and a home run. Boy, I'll tell you, he went down and got that ball as so many left-handers can. You won't see this ball hit the scoreboard. That's above where the camera's looking. I mean, that ball was at least a fourth of the way up.
Glenn Hubbard bounces towards Santana, and he boots another one. This game slowly turning into a ball game like Thursday night's game, the third error of the afternoon by the Mets. It's 13-9, New York leads.
Well, this is just another case of trying to throw the ball before you've actually caught it. And Santana, who's ordinarily as slick as they come, having a little lapse here.
So the Braves and the Mets knocking heads. 22 runs and 26 hits in this ball game. Well, they have played some marathon games this year, haven't they? Slider is high to Dale Murphy. Dale 1 for 4 on the afternoon. Well, you talk about getting it all. That Washington just uncoiled on that ball. Tapped again towards Santana. High hopping. Rafi gets him. So 2 runs on only 1 base hit. A tremendous home run by Claudell Washington. 2 errors in the inning, both by Santana. But after 7.5, the Mets have a 13-9 lead. Now here's a word from Nissan. And so Steve.
Thanks, Timmy. Wally pops the first one out of play. Strike 1. We saw a sign earlier alluded to Wally Backman. Wally 1 for 4 on the night. That triple and a run scored and an RBI all came in the 3rd inning. And he grounds one to Zuvella, and he boots it. Check that baseball. That's the 5th error in the ball game and the 2nd by Atlanta.
This has a little topspin on it. But I mean, it is comical, and I'm not laughing at Paul, but it is getting to be a comical game. We saw a game worse than this on Thursday night. Didn't have as much hitting as this game's had. Bad defense.
Tom Paciorek hits a sharp one to Horner. Goes off his leg. He throws to second. Safe. Well, we'll see how they score that as Paciorek smashed one off of Horner's ankle, it looked like.
This reminds me of the old banquet story of the guy who came in after so-and-so making 8 errors or something, and he dropped the first ball, hit his way, and he said, "You got this position so messed up, nobody can play it," right? It's a perfect time for stories like that, but it is not funny. 6 errors in the ball game.
First one on Horner, 2nd consecutive error of the inning, and here's Gary Carter, who takes a strike. Paciorek was batting for the first time after replacing Keith Hernandez last inning defensively. Carter is 1 for 3 with an infield single. He's also been hit by a pitch and scored 2 runs. 1-1. 13-9. The Mets are leading it here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ripped to left, to base hit. Backman chugging around third, will get for home. The throw will not be in time as Horner cuts it off, and the Mets now lead it 14-9. Carter picks up his 41st RBI of the year.
And 2nd hit in a row for Gary, and I would imagine Davey Johnson will have a pinch runner here. I don't imagine that. He might have a pinch runner as Backman scores. And Ron Reynolds going in to run for Gary Carter. That's a good deal.
Yeah, that way you use only one player, as Reynolds will replace him defensively. So the game, Gary Carter gets a well-deserved rest as Ron Reynolds will pinch run. Still nobody out of the inning, and 2 on for Darryl Strawberry. And a strike on the outside corner. Strawberry 1 for 4. A run with a single to center in the 5th. He's also scored twice. And strike 2. Mets have scored 14 runs, and they didn't score in 3 innings. And strike 3 as Forster puts some extra mustard on that one and picks up his first strikeout.
Mets left fielder George Foster.
Gene Garber warming for the Braves. That is not an enviable task in a game like this.
George Foster now, who's had a great afternoon. Foster, a walk, a single, a 3-run home run, and a 2-run double. He has scored 3 runs and driven in 5. And the Mets have now scored more runs in 2 consecutive games than they ever have in their history, with the 16 yesterday and the 14 so far here. Back in 1971, again against the Atlanta Braves, the Mets scored 29 runs in 2 consecutive games. They have now scored 30 between yesterday and today. George has driven in 27 runs in the last 23 games. And he takes low for ball 2. Now 3-0.
The way he's swinging the bat and the way the Atlanta Braves have continued to come back, scoring 8 runs in the last 3 innings, Davey may give him the 3-0 hit sign.
George looked to be hitting, but he takes ball 4. And the bases are now loaded with 1 away. And the batter will be Howard Johnson. Hojo had a 2-run home run back in the 2nd inning. He is 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored. And Eddie Haas is having a hard time even watching anymore. Bases loaded, 1 out. Strike 1.
Well, that old baseball saying, I guess, applies here. You're never as bad as you look. You're never as good as you think you are. And the Braves have not looked good the last 2 days.
And they have not done well against the Mets. They're going to be very happy the season series is over. Hojo reaches out and punches one to short left center, but Murphy's right there. Here comes Paciorek after tagging, and the throw way off the mark. So it is now 15-9 as Johnson, with the sacrifice fly, drives in his 3rd run of the game and his 24th of the year.
Well, a good job by Tom Paciorek. This ball is not hit deeply to center field. Murphy, as you see, kind of caught the ball back behind him, and that put him not in a good position to make the throw home, and the throw was offline.
And again on that ball, an indication of how well the ball is carrying here today. That ball went a lot deeper than anybody thought it was going to.
What's Carter still doing out here? He ought to be in with his knee under ice or something. Here he is walking around the dugout.
He's having too much fun, I guess.
That's right.
Rafael Santana takes a strike on a late call from Jerry Davis. Santana 1 for 4. single to left in the 6th.
Well, it has been a lot of fun for the Mets. Everybody's been contributing, and it took them a long time. They were buried with that 215, 220 average there for a couple of months. They have really come alive with those bats. There's Gary still around.
In fact, over the last 14 games, the Mets team batting average, not counting today, 284 to raise their average 10 points from 230 to 240.
Respectability.
Just in the last 2 weeks. Ripped foul. And the count now 1-2. Susan, the ball girl, had a slight problem with that one.
And the reason everybody has been contributing is the pitching has held the opposition tight when the Mets weren't hitting. And now the pitching has fallen off a little bit. And the hitters have come alive. And that's why everybody will contribute over 162 games. Otherwise, you're not going to win.
Lofted to left field. Terry Harper, and the inning is over. But the Mets scored 2 on a couple of errors and a base hit and a sacrifice fly. We will go to the 9th. 15-9. The Mets leading after this. Reminding you to stay tuned for Kiner's Corner right after the ball game as we go to the 9th. Ron Reynolds in after pinch running for Gary Carter behind the plate, and Bob Horner to lead it off. Mets lead at 15-9 as we go to the 9th with Roger McDowell on the mound. And the Mets have been doing some going today and yesterday. Horner 2 for 4 with a double, a single, and 2 runs scored. Ball 1. McDowell, working his second inning of relief, gave up 2 unearned runs. And the Mets made a couple of errors, and Claudel Washington homered. Skied to short right. Backman going hard. Strawberry can't get it. It bounces away from him, and Horner, who had thoughts about going to second, will go back to first.
Well, a hit like this kind of fits in with the way things have gone for both sides today. Not a well-played ball game, an offensive game, and probably offensive to Abner Doubleday, who did not mean for this game to be played as poorly as this game's been played today.
Terry Harper with another big day. 3 for 4. He's reached on an error. 2 singles and a 3-run homer. And it's ball 1. And he skies one to right. Strawberry in good position, 1 away. Well, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Mets and WOR TV is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the written consent of the New York Mets and WOR TV is prohibited. Milt Thompson is going to pinch hit. Thompson hitting .355 since its call up from Richmond. No homers, 1 RBI. Thompson pinch hitting for Terry Forster with 1 out and Horner at first base. A ball outside. As a pinch hitter so far, Thompson 1 for 3. Grounded to short. It could be a game-ending double play. Santana to Backman, and Thompson beats it at first base. So Milt Thompson, who runs extremely well, beats it out on the fielder's choice 2 out.
I want to tell you something that should be pointed out, Steve. It would be really easy in a game like this to call him out, punch him out, and have both benches empty and Braves get out of there. It's a very close play, but he was safe, and I think it's a credit to Harry Wendelstedt to call him safe. Because after all, those umpires have been out there a long time today and yesterday. And I know you got to get it right, but it would be easy to call him out in a situation like that.
An excellent point, and to Harry's credit, that's for sure. Rick Cerrone takes ball 1. Cerrone is 0 for 3. He's reached on an error and driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. Thompson at first with 2 out here in the 9th inning and a 15-9 New York lead. And a liner into the gap in right center, and it'll go all the way to the wall. Thompson will score easily as he motors around third. Dykstra gets it back in, and Cerrone with a double drives in his 15th run of the year. And it's now 15-10.
The next shortstop, Paul Zubella.
Rick does not try to pull this ball. He goes right with it, hits it well to right center. His first hit of the day, but he has hit the ball well all afternoon long and finally has something to show for it.
So Cerrone at second for Paul Zubella, who is 0 for 4 and 0 for 11 in this series. There's a strike on the outside corner.
Well, after the game and during this hot summer season, you can have it all with an ice cold Michelob Light. Super premium taste and a less filling beer. That's Michelob Light.
Grounded foul, and the count now 0-2. So Roger McDowell 1 strike away from ending this mini marathon. One of your longer 9-inning affairs. A total of 25 runs have been scored on a total of 29 hits, and there have been 6 errors in the game, 3 by each team. Popped up and playable in the infield. Howard Johnson calling. Santana calls him off, and the game is over. The New York Mets have pulled temporarily into a tie with the St. Louis Cardinals for first place in the National League East, pending the outcome of the Cardinal game at Los Angeles later today. And the Mets have continued to thump the Atlanta Braves, winning this one 15-10. Terry Leach starts and wins it for the Mets. He's 1-0. And the loser, Pascual Perez of Atlanta, is 1-8 on the year. Tim and I'll be back to wrap it up for you, so stay with us. Ralph will follow with Kiner's Corner, and we'll return to Shea right after this for Michelob Light.